that we've all read this scripture and we're all familiar with it, but we really are ignorant. Have you ever thought about the word ignorant and ignore?
Wow.
One comes from the other. You're ignorant because you ignore. And indifferent. And the scripture, Romans 8:7, talks about being carnally minded. And when you're carnally minded, I was thinking of the difference between ignoring and resisting, and being ignorant and ignoring, and indifference, and being carnally minded, and how that affects us, and really what is the devil's DNA? What is Satan's DNA? I mean, what does the scripture say that his main thrust toward mankind on earth is? And it says right here in Revelation 12:10, I heard a voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation, strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ, for the accuser. Wow. The accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused our brethren before God day and night. And so I just thought about that a little bit. And there's a chain in the Thompson 3151 that talks about Satan's work. And what I want to focus on here is we're going through these series on the powers of darkness. And when, see, even the church, even the preachers, even the most prolific preachers in the church have mocked people who had, like Derek and Don Basham and others, this man, Milton Green, mock them because they see a demon under every bush, when really there's hundreds under every bush. Everything that man is doing on the earth today is motivated by demons. Every single thing of worldliness today has multitudes of demons involved in it. And yet we're told that that's foolishness to have a mindset or have a mentality that really sees things as demonically enforced or inspired. We shouldn't think that way. We shouldn't look that way, because we're looking at a demon under every bush. Everything that everybody does is a demon. The devil made me do it. The Flip Wilson comedy act. The devil made me do it. When the truth is that, yes, every act that violates love and faith is demonically inspired. Every act. Now, yes, it has to go through a moral agent, but we're so ignoring, we're so ignorant, and we're so indifferent, and we're so carnally minded that we're not recognizing our inspirations and the thoughts and words that come to us concerning others. So the focus, remember I've talked about, tell me what that is on the wall. Everybody goes, well, it's a mirror. No. And we presume what that is, instead of saying, what is that? What are you talking about? What's the focus? What are you talking about? That until we focus, until we identify, until we qualify what it is that we're going to focus on, we're without power to resist what we don't know and what we don't see. So the thought comes to us, yeah, Bob, he's this way. And you go, and without even thinking, you go, yeah, Bob is that way. And it kind of bothers me about Bob. Or Russ is this way. And then one of the strongholds that Russ always has had to deal with is, people just think I'm rebellious. And see, that thought comes to him. And without realizing it, if he's carnally minded, he won't even recognize a demon speaking to him. And so he'll come to a meeting kind of on guard. Because, who's going to think I'm rebellious tonight? Someone, right? I mean, and all of us have our own little demons that speak to us about the way we are. And the reason they can speak to us, number one, is because we've included them in our
family
conversation.
Family in our mind.
We have not resisted them to the degree that we recognize them. We haven't focused on them. We haven't identified them. We don't recognize that it is the enemy of our soul speaking, not the friend of our soul. And so we go on through life being fed in our thoughts by spirits, demons, and not even know it as Christians, as spirit-filled Christians. That they always speak to serve our purpose, to serve our philosophy, to serve our emotions, to serve our desires. Okay, so yes, and so I just wanted to give you a few examples. And you don't have to write this down. I'm taping this little session, and I'll do this periodically. And then when the tape gets full, we'll make copies for you. And this is all these scripts I'm going to give you are under 31:51 anyway. But in Genesis 3:5, Satan accuses God to Eve. In Job 1:9, he accuses Job to God. In Zechariah 3:1, Satan accuses Joshua, the high priest, before the Lord, before the angel of the Lord. In Matthew 4, he accuses God of being impudent. If you recall, in Matthew 4, Mark 4, Jesus' temptation in the wilderness, look what Satan says, I'll give you this, as if God couldn't.
Yeah.
I'll say this and turn the thing into bread.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you, see the kingdoms, I'll give you that, as if God was impotent and couldn't give him that.
Yeah.
See, it's an accusation.
Oh, yeah.
We don't see it as accusing.
Right.
We see it as a temptation. Every temptation is an accusing spirit. Actually, Satan cannot open his mouth without accusing. And when you get to the place that you can recognize the spirit of accusation, you will turn the corner on hearing from him. And know this, the only ones he's going to accuse here are people in this body for the most part. Because if he can keep you at each other, doubting each other, fearing each other, thinking you're better than each other, if he can continue that, then we spend our time on earth putting out little brush fires.
Yeah.
Right.
And we don't focus toward saving souls and keeping souls.
Oh, yeah.
And making children, out there. That's why Jump for Jesus have been so good for us, because he gets us out and he gets us serving.
Focus is inward.
Yeah, it's all inward. In Matthew 13, Jesus talks about the sower. Well, he sows bad seed. What's bad seed? It's always accusing somebody. And okay, what do you mean, Gene? Well, look at the seed sown by the way, or the rocks, and it grew for a little while, but then because of what? Worldliness, cares of this life. What is that? That's Satan saying, you ain't going to get what you need as a Christian. You're not going to get what you need here. You need to have more. I can give you more. It's all an accusation. And then in John 13, he accuses Jesus to Judas. Did you ever consider this? Judas leaves to go turn Jesus in. How can he do that? Because Satan accused Jesus to Judas, saying, he's not going to be the one. He's not going to do what, he's not going to do it.
He's going to take over the government.
Yeah. And in 1 Peter 5, the devil as a roaring lion.